Live and recording on, what is it, Friday here in Minnesota. Didn't have a show yesterday. I did live stream, so I haven't broken my live streaming streak. But yesterday I went to the sentencing of Amy Bach. Didn't get in the room. It wasn't open to the public, but I did go to the building because RFK, who else? Mehmet Oz and Todd Blanche were going to be there. And, you know, unfortunately, they were wise enough to not get within earshot of my pipes. I did interrupt one of the prosecutors being interviewed by the press to ask him who has defrauded the American people of more money, Amy Bach or Donald Trump. And then everybody clapped. Literally, though, everybody did clap. A bunch of people clapped. Anyway, if anybody can find footage of that, we weren't allowed to film, and some people were like sneaky filming on their phone. If anybody can find footage of me interrupting the press conference yesterday to ask who's a bigger fraudster, Amy Bach or Donald Trump, please, I want that footage. I just wasn't able to film it myself, which is a darn shame. But that's what happened yesterday. That's why there isn't a show. For those who are newer to the program, in addition to debating politics, which is what this show is about, I live here in Minneapolis. So if there's outdoor protesting type stuff to do, I go and do that instead of doing this show. So most days it's this show. But please, if anybody can find the footage of me interrupting the press conference yesterday, please get me that footage. Because I didn't really end up with any good footage. There was an agitator in the crowd, but I kind of just don't want to give them attention. I might make like one reel about that. Like, you know, just this random crazy guy who's running for governor was there causing a lot of problems and putting his hands on women and stuff. So Oskar broke up another fight yesterday. Whoopsie daisy. The Republicans are going to say that somehow makes me violent. But yeah, I did put my hands on somebody yesterday because they were stepping up on a woman. And as history shows, Oskar Quentin steps in when bullshit fights are happening on the sidewalk. Anyway, what is going on in the news today? That was the news, right? The sentencing yesterday, Amy Bach was sentenced to 41 years for the Feeding Our Future fraud. I'm not super familiar with sentencing guidelines for fraud, and she did defraud a lot of money from a program that was trying to feed children. So is that a reasonable sentence? Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look at what reasonable sentences for that type of crime are. I'm not really educated on it. But the reason I was there to protest is really just because it's egregious that representatives of Trump's administration are coming to Minnesota to talk about fraud when the president is himself a fraudster. Oh, and I do have some donations to read that came in yesterday that didn't quite make it, or didn't get read out on the live because I was busy outside. Just a couple. Melissa, who I spoke with on Instagram, sent me $10. So shout out to Melissa. Thank you very much for that. Will, who's a mod, sent $5. He likes to support as well. He says it's for money or for rent or for some. What did he say? Hold on. Gotta read it right. He said bail money or rent. Yeah, because I didn't post anything yesterday because I didn't get very much good footage. Iowa Golfer, I'll see you. I'll get to you in just a second, buddy. There were people messaging me like, dude, did you get arrested? And I had to be like, no, I just didn't get very much good footage. Joshua sent me $5. He said, love what you do and the show. Not much, but maybe it'll get you a gallon of gas for the day. Good luck today. Thank you. Yeah. So for everybody who wished me well yesterday, thanks very much. I had a nice day. You know, I hung out with some of my protesting buddies, sat and talked with DeWoke Farmer for a few minutes about what's been going on with my social media and stuff, because I don't think I'd spoken to him since the 11th when the Savannah Hernandez fight happened at the Whipple. Anyway, that's the news. We're going to talk to Iowa Golfer, and we're going to see what he wants to talk about. He is 27 years old, if I recall correctly, and he's a regular on the show who comes in and has some seriously good faith debates. What a pleasant way to start the show. Assuming he's in a good mood, but he's usually in a pretty good mood. I'm just rambling while he connects because he hasn't connected yet. Do 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 do. Okay. Iowa Golfer, connect. What's going on in the chat? The difference between them is that she doesn't have a cult of followers who think she does no wrong. Yeah, right? I mean, people say that we liberals support the fraud, which is nonsense, right? Like what Amy Bach did is really bad and she belongs in prison. Like I said, I don't happen to be educated on whether or not the sentencing was an appropriate one. I mean, 40 years is a really long time for a financial crime, but it was an enormous financial crime. So he's disconnected. Feel free to hop back in. It looks like we were just having some kind of technical difficulties there. So Iowa Golfer, if you're still in the room, feel free to hit the request button again. Anybody else who wants to argue the prompt or argue about politics with me generally, hit the request button. It's when there isn't a caller, it's just, well, let's see if I can point to it. Everybody tell me, am I pointing in the right spot? It should be right here on your screen. Am I getting it right? It's a pink and blue pair of heads just to the right of the comment thing. I should put a little sticker on the screen for the correct spot to point to tell everybody where it is. Almost nailed it. Well, was I to the right or to the left? We can figure out exactly where. Okay, a little to the right. Is it like right here? I think that it might vary from device to device. I think that if you're on a like your phone screen size affects it just a little bit, but it's like over here somewhere. The pink and blue heads. Man, there are some upset people in the chat. Why aren't there anybody in the request queue then? You got to click the little thingy down here and come talk to me. If you want to talk to me about Soylent, sure. The only argument that... Oh, Iowa Golfer's back. Let's see if he'll be able to connect this time. There we go. How you doing, Iowa Golfer? Oh, and he's immediately teacupped. Hello. Are you back? Uh-oh. Let's see. Do I have audio? Test audio. Yes, I do.
Okay, now I'm good.
There we go. How you doing, Iowa Golfer?
Oh, I'm all right. Now I finally figured my phone out.
Good. What are we discussing today?
I gotta ask you this.
Okay.
Because I think you understand this too to be true. At what point do you stop shitting on Trump and start promoting Democrat policies and potential Democrat runners?
Well, I do that. I talk about
because
the fact...
Is shitting on Trump and saying Trump bad good for what the Democrats need right now?
It is. I actually think that there's a clip on my Instagram of me answering... I think it was you. I think you've asked me something like this before, which is like, why are we focusing on this almost 80 years old, like dying, going senile, like crazy dude when he's just like obviously not going to be important in American politics much longer. But I think if we let it slide, if we don't hold Trump accountable in some way, whether that's impeaching him or removing him with the 25th, or even posthumously, if he just like dies tomorrow of a heart attack, we need to change some laws. We need to change the way that laws that the president is supposed to follow are enforced, so that we can't have another president that oversteps their authority the way that Trump has. So until that happens, I'm not going to stop talking about Trump.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that, because I just saw too that the DNC just came out with their quote unquote autopsy of their presidential campaign. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I haven't looked at it yet, no.
One of their big things during this presidential election is, look at how bad this guy is. How could you vote for him? And they even said, we don't know how to talk to middle-class working people anymore. We don't know how to talk in a way that makes sense to people.
So here's the problem: is that if you and I were playing a board game, what's your favorite board game, Iowa Golfer?
Oh God,
card game, anything? Poker?
Man, I love euchre.
Euchre, never heard of it.
Euchre. I like playing cribbage. Cribbage is a good one.
Cribbage, I don't know the rules of those games, so I can't. Poker. Can we use poker as an example?
Are you playing poker or Hold'em?
Texas Hold'em.
Okay.
I'm a Texas Hold'em man. Learned how to play sitting on my dad's lap while he was doing online poker. He had me play his hands when he went to the bathroom. It's like a game I like. If you and I played a game of poker and you lost, and the reason that you lost is because I was cheating, like because I had cards up my sleeve, because I knew the dealer and I was having him sneak cards into the deck in a way that they'd get dealt to me in my favor. If I was doing shit like that and somebody asked you for your autopsy of why you lost that game of Texas Hold'em, do you think it would be fair for you to say the reason I lost is because Oskar cheated? I don't know if you broke up. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you repeat your answer?
I
think it got cut off. I don't know if you answered.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If you cheated and I could prove you cheated, I would say he cheated.
Yeah, and then
poker is honestly a game of luck. It's truly a game of luck.
There's absolutely luck involved, but you wouldn't want people to say, "Come on, Iowa Golfer! Like, how it doesn't matter that he cheated. Why didn't you win? Come on, tell us what you did wrong." Do you see the comparison here?
Really, where you're going with it?
My issue is that if the DNC has an autopsy of the election, it's utterly relevant to hear that the other side cheated. You can't blame. You're blaming the victim by saying that they should have done a better job.
No, seriously, they put out 150 pages of reasons why they lost the election. They came up with 150 pages.
I should look into that. That sounds. Yeah, I just haven't read it yet. That sounds. I know. I'm aware it's out. I just need to put some time into it. But again, I think that the Republicans have done things that are dishonest and shouldn't and don't belong in American politics. One big problem that I have with how all of this has gone is that. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted by something going on, and sorry, technical difficulties. I'm back. I think that lying in America, in politics in generally, is cheating, because if you just go up behind the lectern and say things that aren't true, you can convince voters of anything. You can say, look at this big problem. We believe there's this big problem. You need to vote for me so that we fix this problem. But if the problem is made up or exaggerated, you're cheating. People will willingly vote for you thinking that they are accomplishing something that they are not. And I think that in a nutshell is why we lost the 2024 election. And I don't think that the Republicans were playing fairly. So I think that needs to be pointed out. I think that we need to look at the lies that Trump told on the campaign trail, which are unique to American politics, because yes, politicians have a hard time keeping their campaign promises. Most of the time it isn't for lack of trying. With Trump, it seems to be. This is a man who promised not to go to any wars. This is a man who promised that if Kamala Harris became president, we'd go to war with Iran. We are now at war with Iran. There's all these other things. So I am going to keep focusing on
I want to make
Trump.
sure here, you're not claiming that Trump is the only person that's lying during these presidential campaigns.
I have to give the same answer to that I always do, which is that if you can find one or two examples of somebody doing something bad while I'm talking about the other guy doing it hundreds of times, then your attention is misplaced. Because yes, it's hard to have a political career without saying something wrong or potentially lying somewhere along the way, but we as voters need to pick the lesser of two evils. How are you so focused on the rare occurrences and scandals with Democrats when all Trump does is scandals? Everything he does is scandalous. Every big move by his administration right now is something illegal that should be bigger than Watergate and end his political career.
So Watergate was absolutely illegal. It was illegal.
Yes.
And it was found
totally illegal.
to be illegal, and he was removed from office for it.
Yes, and Trump does something that catastrophically scandalous and illegal once or twice a week.
Why has he not been removed from office?
Because the Republicans who are responsible for removing him from office, because they hold a majority in the House and Senate, and because they make up his entire administration, those are the people who have the power to remove him. It's his administration that can do the 25th Amendment, and it's Congress that can do an impeachment, and they are literally just voting for him instead of for the Constitution. They are loyal to him instead of the Constitution. And that's...
Whose job is it to determine if something is constitutional?
The Supreme Court.
And if the Supreme Court does not step in and say this is not unconstitutional, is it unconstitutional?
Iowa Golfer, I do like talking to you, but we're getting to a point where everything you bring me is something that we've discussed before, because I will again just go through this with you. Can you imagine a hypothetical situation in which a person who doesn't like the Constitution becomes elected president, and a bunch of people who like that person more than the Constitution get elected into Congress, and then they suddenly are voting with that person's loyalty in mind instead of with the Constitution in mind, and then maybe the Supreme Court has 3 of its 9 justices selected by that person? It's possible for such a situation to arise where suddenly the Constitution isn't being respected at all by any of the 3 branches of the government, and that person can do whatever they want. Do you recognize that that's one of the ways a democracy can fail?
That would be a possibility, yes. How many of the justices on there have been selected by Trump? Is it 3?
It's 3, and then there were 3 that are also conservative-leaning but weren't selected by him, so it leans in his favor. But because he has less of a tight grip on the Supreme Court, sometimes they do rule against him. Let me ask you this. What are the political affiliations of the Supreme Court justices? They're apolitical. Well, they're supposed to be apolitical. Did I get it wrong? Did he appoint 4? The chat is correcting me on that. But again, they're supposed to be apolitical, but every individual has their own leaning. Like we can't just like call the Supreme Court justices robots and assert that they're not going to be biased, because the history tells us exactly how it goes. They are biased. So do we need to take away the president's ability to select Supreme Court justices then to try and fix it? I have literally been like believing that is a thing that America should do since before Trump became a politician. When I learned civics in high school, I thought, wait a minute, one person gets to select the Supreme Court justices? That's a hole in this ship that could cause democracy to fail, and Trump has done that. You know one thing, I think that one person that is very responsible for putting us in this situation right now? Are they a Democrat? Are you going to name a
They're
Democrat?
a Democrat. I am.
Okay.
He's the Democrats' golden boy.
I don't know who the Democrats' golden boy is. We don't really pick golden boys.
I believe he was probably one of the best presidents of our lifetime. That'd be Obama.
Okay.
Obama, Ruth Bader Ginsburg should have stepped down. If she would have stepped down, Obama would have been able to select one of those justices. He could have gone to her and asked her.
You're talking about one Supreme Court justice appointment from 10 years ago instead of everything I just said about all three branches of the government being taken over by Republicans.
Trump was able to put in 3 because Ginsburg died in office.
We both agreed.
If he would have gotten her to step down.
iowagolfer, please. 60 seconds ago, you presented a correction to this system that I have been promoting since before Trump became a politician, since I was a teenager. I know. And then you're bringing up one potential appointment that Obama could have had. None of that matters if the Republicans are still have a majority in Congress and won't impeach the president while he does unconstitutional things. They only need 2 of the 3 branches of the government to completely control the government, essentially, especially when the Supreme Court and the federal courts often rule against Trump and he just disobeys the orders in a way that would normally get him impeached, because if the president disobeys a judge's order, he should be impeached, but Congress isn't going to impeach him, so he can disobey orders. None of this is relevant. They have such a grip on the control of the government. They have such a grip on the separation of powers. They have such a grip on each of the 3 branches of government that none of this matters. Why are you asking me about Ruth Bader Ginsburg? She's dead. Obama's been retired for more than 10 years.
What I'm saying is that the issue that I take with this, okay, is that people say that Trump corrupted the Supreme Court by appointing these judges, when any president, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Whig, Green Party, I don't care who, would have done the exact same thing if they were in the presidency. They would have put a justice in there that aligns with their views and that they believed would have ruled in their favor on things. You can't say otherwise. I think if you would say otherwise, you would be arguing completely.
Okay, the fact is that there is a mechanism by which one political ideology can take over the country in America and subvert the Constitution. We've established that. That's why I said a person in the White House, a person that's being respected by members of Congress instead of the Constitution. It doesn't matter that it's Trump.
Yes.
So you're talking about what Obama could have done to abuse that system instead of what Trump, who's the current president, has done to abuse that system. Why are we talking
about the system if that's the process, though? If that's the process, it's not abuse of the system because that's the precedent that has been set. Does that make sense?
It is an abuse of the system to have members of Congress voting in favor of what the president wants instead of what it literally says in the Constitution. You have to be illiterate to look at the actions of Congress and not recognize that they're unconstitutional. If you read the Constitution, it's plain as day what's in there. What's happening is unacceptable. The Founding Fathers wrote these rules to protect us from the sort of tyranny that they escaped in Europe when they came here and started the country up. Like, we're falling for it. We're falling back into the tyranny that we, as a country, had escaped for 250 years. And you're talking to me about who Obama...
You believe we're under tyranny?
I believe there's a rise of tyranny. I think that if Trump became or whoever replaces Trump because he's dying, like whoever holds the seat, if they become like a really obvious, look at this dictator with tanks rolling down the street, there won't be a day where it was obvious that, today America became a dictatorship. No, it's being eroded bit by bit by bit, and it's happening slow enough that for somebody like you, nothing terribly dramatic happens. This week doesn't feel very different than the week before. Last week didn't feel very different than the week before that.
I'll tell you what, though, Oscar, I will say, exciting news.
Okay.
Next Monday, not this upcoming Monday, next Monday, my son's going to be born.
I'm excited for you. Congratulations. I hope that. I hope they're healthy. That's big news.
I appreciate that. So I got my son and I got my daughter. I'm so excited.
That's fantastic, but I worry for their future.
That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about this is that if you, because I do this from time to time, because I think you notice, I come into your lives whenever I see you on, generally. But I will just disconnect myself. Quit paying attention to politics. Quit paying attention to the news, shit like that. Life is great, dude. Yeah, okay, you might not like who's governing who's in governance right now, but if you disconnect and shit like that, gas might go up $1 or $2, or this might go up $1 or $2, or something like that.
Here's the problem. I didn't decide to go out and start protesting. I mean, I protested certain things, but like I didn't make my entire life about resisting what's happening in the government the first time that Trump was president, because the checks and balances were working. There are lots of things that he wanted to do that he simply couldn't do because the president can't overstep their bounds like that. Congress kept him in check. The Supreme Court kept him in check for the most part. There are a couple decisions I was unhappy about, but that's like the same thing with like Biden disobeying the Constitution to try to forgive student loans. It's like, a couple little blunders here and there that I was really unhappy about. But the government was functioning.
You didn't like Biden trying to forgive student loans?
I think the Supreme Court was right. It's the job of Congress to determine how money is allocated, and what he was trying to do was expensive. He shouldn't have tried to do it by executive order. So I think that was a reasonable check of his power. So I'm just pointing out that that's what was going on in the first administration. I can accept having a president for 4 years that I didn't vote for and I don't like and I think is bad for America. That's what happened the first time. What's happened in the second term is so different. And the fact that you can check out from it and not pay attention is privilege. Because if you lived in my neighborhood, you would be really concerned about what ICE might come do with a newborn baby on the way, because 6 children got sent to the hospital the night that they created chaos in northeast Minneapolis when they shot that guy, which, by the way, we're trying to charge that ICE agent. I think there's charges pending against him because he lied about the circumstances of that shooting. But that night when the community protested, the ICE agents came and created chaos. They tear gassed many blocks of a neighborhood for no good reason at all, because they're untrained at crowd control and these sorts of law enforcement actions. 6 children, their father was trying to put them in a car to escape the neighborhood because tear gas was coming in through the windows, and a tear gas canister rolled underneath the car, and 6 children were brought to the hospital with respiratory issues. And if you lived where I live, that is something that you'd have to worry about for your newborn baby. And I don't want that for you. And I worry that that's coming for you if this problem of the frog in the hot water if the water keeps getting turned up and it keeps, coming to a simmer, that might come to you and you'll regret that you turned your head and let gas get more expensive while you were paying attention to your baby.
Yeah, see, and I've said this before. I'm not, what's the word? I'm not blind to see what's going on. I've said this to you before. ICE, everything that ICE has been doing, I agree with the premise of ICE. Absolutely agree with the premise of ICE. Do I agree with how Noam handled ICE? No, I don't. I think Mark Wayne Mullen will do a better job. He reinstated the training programs that Kristi Noem nuked. And I believe that ICE is, from what I've heard, I don't know this to be fact, he said this during his confirmation hearing. He will reinstate these training policies to better train these ICE agents.
This is scapegoating. This is another page out of the fascism handbook, which is that if you do things that are massively unpopular with the public, you need to have people in place who you can fire and replace to appease the public, so that people like Iowa Golfer call into the Oskar Quentin debate show and say, look, they fixed it, even though they didn't. It's unsurprising. It's what we all expected. It's why I refuse to celebrate Noam's firing. Doesn't matter. The people who committed those civil rights abuses, the people who came here and violated my civil rights and the civil rights of my neighbors, the murderers who violated DHS use of force policy in both the Alex Preddy and Renee Good shootings, because never mind what you think ethically about it. Never mind watching the footage and making your own assessment about it. Obviously, I do that plenty, and you know what my assessment on those are. If you actually just read what the rules for an ICE agent are in terms of using force, they both violated those rules in such a way that resulted in death. And that type of negligent discharge of a firearm in the course of duty is murder on the books. So the fact that those murderers are walking free, that they haven't been charged, is obscene. It's an obscene miscarriage of justice. It doesn't matter that Kristi Noem was fired. It's not going to bring those people back to life. It's not going to let Renee Good's child see her face again.
So whose job would it actually be to charge those agents from Minneapolis? It should be the Minneapolis DA, shouldn't it?
Yeah, the Minneapolis DA was denied evidence in both cases. I think they were granted evidence in one of them recently, but it's been months and the evidence probably been tampered with and destroyed because we can't trust this administration. But they literally did illegal things to prevent the local DA from being able to do that. Things that are so illegal that we didn't have an enforcement mechanism in place, because it's never happened before in America that the federal government has denied a local jurisdiction evidence for a homicide, when in these sorts of law enforcement homicides, when a federal law enforcement officer unalives a person in a state, there are two investigations that are supposed to happen, the federal investigation and the state gets their own independent investigation with evidence sharing. That is how it's supposed to work, and it has never happened before that the federal government has just said, nope. Like, what, is Mary Moriarty going to press charges against who? Kristi Noem, the president? Like, what do we even do about this? It's so illegal that we don't even have a mechanism for enforcing it, because the fact that Trump is supporting it should result in an impeachment. That is the due process, which he is due. But so because that's not happening, what do we do?
You want to impeach Trump because of something that an ICE agent did?
I want to impeach Trump for supporting something very illegal that an ICE agent did. Among other things, I could probably come up with 20 or 30 independent things that Trump has done that all should result in his impeachment. That's one of them.
Give me just a second here. Sorry, I'm looking through some paperwork here.
Okay. I will say to the audience, I will say, Iowa Golfer tends to call me when he's busy, and he's one of the only guests I let call in when he's a little bit busy, because you do generally a good job of giving me your attention, even if you're not like doing a fantastic job in this moment. But
speaking of that, how is your following and stuff like that? Are you still growing on Instagram and stuff like that?
Fucking crazy. I'm gonna cross 50,000 followers on Instagram tomorrow.
Congrats, bud. That's awesome.
Yeah. For the people who've been following the Oscar's in penis jail on Instagram for having his rubber penis out at the Whipple, I'm out of penis jail as of today. So I'm officially monetizing there. YouTube's monetizing.
Wearing a fucking strap on.
Yes.
Why? That's when we stop taking you seriously, guys. When we see shit like that, I drive by our courthouse,
it's so that I can point out to people. It's so that I can point out to people that you are more upset about that than the fact that the president is literally a rapist.
Well, no, it's the fact that you guys are out there saying, take us seriously, but then you got a cock on you that's not even yours, and it just doesn't make sense. I'm like, come on. You are making yourself look bad by changing your tone and being so offended by the fact that we have a rubber dick on. Like, who cares? No, it's not that I'm offended by it.
They're new. We bought them for the protests. They're not. We didn't take them from our personal supply.
Well, I appreciate that it's new. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, that'd be actually really.
Inches?
Got a box of them over there. They're not quite that big. They're probably 9 or 10 inches.
God,
about 9 or 10. Yeah, dude. I mean, the fact that
and
that's
then you gotta realize too. I mean, when you go out in public like that, there's children out, man.
I advise people not to bring their children to the Whipple. It's a violent, dangerous place.
What is the Whipple?
That's the federal building. There's a lot of wind noise. I'm gonna mute you for a second. I need you to get out of the wind. Sorry, it's if it's too loud for me, I know it's way too loud for the audience. So I'm gonna keep it muted for a second. But the Whipple is the federal building in Minneapolis that ICE operates out of, and I advise people not to bring children or pets there. It is a dangerous, dangerous place where there might be crowd munitions, tear gas, pepper balls, rubber beanbags, the LRAD, the acoustic device that can blow out your hearing from 100 feet away. Like, it's not a place for kids. And at the end of the day, quite frankly, if you bring your kids to an art museum, they'll see more accurate depictions of human genitalia than you'll see at the Whipple hanging out of the fly of my pants. And I just think we all need to grow the fuck up a little bit, right? Like, if we can elect a president rapist, you're really concerned about children being exposed to the fact that penises exist? Like, come on. It's actually good for children to have, minor sex education in schools and stuff like that is important. The fact that kids see that the statue at the museum has genitalia is like a type of normalization that's actually good for children not being repressed sexual deviance when they're older. But I mean, we don't listen to childhood psychologists, do we? I'm gonna unmute you. I sent the invitation to unmute. Oh, did I?
You're good. I got you.
Okay, yeah, just lots of wind noise today.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so
I gotta be out here and bust my ass so I can pay for the bills to feed the kids.
Hey, you got a baby on the way. I can respect that. I really do struggle with the fact that it's so frustrating for you. Like you don't see that it's working on you. Like, what's worse, Oscar wearing a strap on or the president violating the Constitution? Like, which is worth more of your ire? Which should change your tone more?
Okay, I think we've had this conversation before.
I don't think we've discussed anything new today, Iowa. I think all of the points that you brought me are ones that I've answered the same. answered to you before.
I know, and that's the issue that I take with it is that you're a very, very bright and brilliant young man. You're very brilliant.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, Bob. How old are you?
30.
Well, you're still young.
Yeah, just when people call me young man, like.
Well, okay.
I'm in my 30s.
I'm trying to be respectful.
I appreciate that. But you're infantilizing me a little bit because I'm literally.
But here's the thing
just
that I
to
want
call
people
somebody
to realize,
a bright
right?
young man implies that you're coming from some sort of place of authority or wisdom, and I'm literally older than you, dude.
No, that's fine. Here's the thing, and I want people to realize this, right? When you take, if me and you were to have met somewhere, say, I don't know if you play golf, probably don't. I don't know. If me and you met on a golf course, you say you played golf. If me and you met on a golf course, I think we'd be really good friends. We wouldn't talk about politics. I wouldn't know your political views. You probably wouldn't know mine because I don't talk about that shit.
I associate with plenty of people who disagree with me politically. I'm a working creative. I'm a musician who gigs and works in comedy bars. I produce a couple comedy shows here, and a lot of the comedians are awful people. I'm not like that. You're seeing the Oskar Quentin, the debate host. That's the only Oscar you know. But I am a guy who just goes out in the world and engages normally. You say I'm so obsessed with Trump. I have conversations about things other than Trump. I have a whole life and personality that doesn't really get shown on this show because this show is about Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually do want to ask you about that. Who do you think the Democrats should run in 28?
I think we've talked about this before as well. I'm excited about.
I don't think we have.
AOC's winning the polls. I have to just say I'm concerned about, I'm not really excited to bet on third time's the charm on trying to see if America is progressive enough to elect a woman president. I don't I think we're playing with fire doing that again, as much as I hate it, because I'd love for AOC to be president. I think Kelly, the senator from Arizona, I think is a better choice.
Now let me ask you this. You saw what they did to Bernie. AOC is super Bernie. Do you really think the Democrats are going to let AOC run?
Well, I mean, in addition to recent American history telling us that we're really not ready for a female president, too many people are just
Hillary won the popular vote, dude.
That was a long time ago, and she still lost the game we're playing, which is to win the electoral college votes.
Just the fact that we're not willing to elect women into leadership roles is just untrue.
True. As a matter of fact, though, twice we have failed. So that's one thing, but I also recognize that she's super Bernie, which I'm excited about because I also identify as a democratic socialist, even though the Phil Bros say that I'm a social democrat, but I assert that I'm just going to go with the American political label that Bernie Sanders set up. Whatever, I don't want to get into that. Point is, I'm really excited about that, but I recognize the electability issues that you brought up in addition to the fact that she's a woman, which is why I don't actually want her to be the front runner. I would much prefer Kelly to be the front runner because I think he has fantastic electability.
Yeah. You don't think Newsom should run?
No, I don't think Newsom. I think Newsom has better electability potentially than AOC, but I just think Kelly beats both of them on every electability metric.
No.
Yeah. We talk in circles about these things all the time, and I guess you're always very nice to me. You're always very flattering to me. You always say I'm brilliant and well spoken and educated, and I guess I'm not interested in hearing that because it doesn't make a difference about any of the things that we're talking about, unless I'm going to ask a question like this one, why? If I'm so brilliant and educated and smart about all this stuff, then why? How is it that you think I'm so misguided?
I've never once said that you're misguided. I believe that you believe the things that you were saying.
You call in and argue with me about things that we disagree about, and for us to disagree, you must think I'm wrong.
So just because we disagree does not mean that I think that. I 100% believe that you truly believe that what you are doing is right. That what you believe is right.
But you don't believe that it literally is right.
I also believe that I have opposing views, and that's okay. I don't think that anybody should ever agree 100%. Scratch that. Very few things 100% of a people should agree on, because then nothing would get done. And when I say that,
but we're missing the big point here, which is that I think that Trump is a way bigger threat to democracy than my strap-on at the Whipple building, and you don't.
No,
that's
not. So
if you think I'm wrong,
saying that. What I'm saying, I'm saying
you must
I'm not
think
saying
misguided.
that you were wrong for doing it. I'm saying that there is probably more effective ways of protesting than doing that.
I mean, I run this show. Do you think that this show is an effective way of protesting what's happening?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I spend 60 hours a week or 60 hours a month hosting this show, 2 hours every day. So, like, yeah, we make some silly videos with our dicks out at the Whipple. Like, can we focus on the vast majority of what I do, which is sit and have... I spend more time talking to you, Iowa golfer, as an individual, than I do wearing that strap on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, now I will ask you this question, because I know I have not asked you this question.
We'll see.
Do you think the MAGA movement dies with Trump?
No.
Because I don't think there's anybody capable of being Trump besides Trump.
Well, I think that J.D. Vance lacks the charisma to inherit a dictatorship.
Trump, for lack of a better word, is a cult of personality.
Well, you could have said that about the first dictator of North Korea, Kim Il-sung, who was the first of now 3 immortal supreme leaders that they have had. They're on their 3rd immortal supreme leader. You see the problem with how cults work, right? You think they don't have a plan for if Trump has a heart attack?
Well, yeah, we have a vice president.
You think they don't have a better plan than that in terms of how to handle the PR of the situation? Yes, legally, J.D. Vance will immediately become the president if Donald Trump dies, which, he could any day just because he's old and in poor health. But I like I said a second ago, as much as I said it as a jab that I don't think that J.D. Vance has the charisma to inherit a dictatorship, I think really what is important here is that we have a big chunk of America who believe that the MAGA movement is more important than the Constitution, and no American should believe that any political movement is more important than the Constitution. Doing so is unpatriotic and dangerous for democracy, and that's really all I'm pushing by running this show. Yeah. I don't like Trump. I don't like conservative policies. We can sit and argue about them. But at the end of the day, when people ask me what's the one reason I don't want Trump to stay president, and it's because he doesn't follow the Constitution. I can ball up all my concerns into that. I could deal with the first administration, and I did. America dealt with it. We didn't have millions of people protesting the actions of the administration in the street. We had some people protesting, upset about it. People protested the fact that Obama used drones in the Middle East. There's things to protest the administration doing. But this sort of wide scale, oh my God, we're in trouble. Millions of people are taking to the streets to say this man's got to go. 86-47. That's new, and it's because what he's doing is uniquely unconstitutional.
We're just going in circles here, so I won't continue on with it. But
all right.
I believe that you do understand that there is one body that determines what is unconstitutional.
Not right now. Not at the moment. Because apparently the president gets to decide what's constitutional with executive orders. Apparently Congress gets to decide what's constitutional by refusing to impeach a president who does flagrantly unconstitutional things. You need like a 3rd grade reading level to read the law and understand that Trump is doing things that are illegal and should result in him being impeached. And because of that state of affairs, you're wrong. Right now, the Supreme Court doesn't have that good a grip on the Constitution. MAGA does. The MAGA movement does. MAGA politicians, appointed and elected, do.
I'm going to take this back in history.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, for I think the last 100 years, one of the most popular presidents that we have ever had, Abraham Lincoln. He's always ranked in the top 3. He is also the one president that blatantly was so unconstitutional. He broke the Constitution blatantly more than any president in United States history.
Your example of the last time something like this happened is the one time that America fell into a civil war where a large percentage of people who live in this country died.
What I'm saying is that the Supreme Court was fighting him, saying what you are doing is unconstitutional. That's the difference.
The difference, the big thing that people bring up about Abraham Lincoln, I answered this just the other day, and I have a clip that's blowing up on Instagram where I explain it, so it's ready on top of mind to give my rebuttal to this one. Does it say in the Constitution to enslave black people? Yes or no?
I don't think so.
No. It doesn't protect black people from being enslaved, but it doesn't say in there that you're allowed to enslave them. White people weren't given the right to enslave black Americans, African Americans. They were. It just wasn't protected. So, yes, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, and then Congress made an amendment that made slavery illegal. That's so different than what's happening right now.
That's not what he did that was unconstitutional. He was jailing reporters for speaking out against him. He was literally arresting people and throwing them in prison without due process, without trial, for years.
Well, there is a suspension of habeas corpus. Can't remember my vocabulary terms. There's a suspension of habeas.
This is without doing that.
Again, do you think it doesn't demonstrate in my favor the severity of what's going on? That your example is the fact that the president did some things during a civil war in the 1800s?
Dude, we're circling back again.
I'm not going to try to defend I'm not educated enough on the Civil War to defend every little point about it. But again, if you have to dig that deep, if you have to dig to the time that we were literally at war with ourselves, I am concerned about a civil war happening in America again, because civil wars are what happen when the Constitution isn't being followed, when the balance of powers isn't being followed, when the rules of the government aren't being followed. So the fact that your big defense in this thing is referencing...
Trump is being checked, dude.
No, he isn't.
The Supreme Court has stopped him several times already this year.
That doesn't mean that they stop him every time. That doesn't mean that they stop him fast enough, and that doesn't mean that he should remain in office after the things that he's done.
They don't stop any president every single time. If what he is doing is not unconstitutional, they have no reason to stop him. Their job, they do one thing. The Supreme Court is there to do one thing. Know and determine what is and is not constitutional with America's laws and what our policies.
The fact of the matter is that there are people in this country that are having their civil rights taken away, are having things happen to them that should not happen to them according to the rules of the government, and the Supreme Court has dropped the ball in protecting people from that happening.
What citizens have lost their civil rights, Oscar?
Me.
How?
By being assaulted by ICE officers for exercising my First Amendment. Numerous times.
Are you suing?
Yeah, dude, we're working on it. The ACLU is collecting footage. Like I said, there's like a bunch of these major incidents that I was involved in. Like my footage is one of the key pieces of evidence in a case against Gregory fucking Bavino right now. That's fucking exciting for me. It hasn't moved through the courts yet. But again,
I'm just asking here. What is the context here?
Here, let me put it this way.
Were you standing on a street corner and then they just came up and started punching you?
Do you think Alex Preddy is excited about the lawsuit he's going to get? And yes, by the way, that's exactly what happens.
Alex Preddy's gone, dude.
Yeah, I don't think a lawsuit's going to save him. He's dead. They shot him 10 times.
Yep.
That's
horrible.
Yeah. And yes, by the way, they literally do come up to you and start shoving you, punching you, pepper spraying you, shooting you with beanbag. They're careless. And they have complete disregard for people's civil rights. So you can just sit there down in Iowa where these civil rights abuses aren't happening very much and say that they aren't happening, but they are, and I have filmed them and put them on the internet. And nothing's happening. How do you sue an ICE agent that has federal immunity and can't be identified because he wore a mask and doesn't give a badge number? It's a brick wall, legally. What do I do? What's the paperwork I fill out? Please tell me.
I would suggest finding a civil rights attorney.
I have a civil rights attorney. We are working on it, but people are fucking dying.
This is going to sound horrible.
I believe it.
People dying from law enforcement is nothing new.
The president celebrating it is new.
The two things... Donald Trump did not celebrate what happened to Mr. Preddy and Mr.
He absolutely did.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No.
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He repeated Stephen Miller's lies about Stephen Miller's lies about Alex Preddy, that he was a gunman who needed to be taken out.
That's not celebrating anything.
Saying that somebody who died needed to die is celebrating their death. Absolutely. And this is a person who had James Coney indicted for saying 8647. The disproportionate response to these things is obscene.
I'm going to ask you this. If you were walking down the street and you saw people running from police or resisting arrest from police officers, do you think it would be a good idea to insert yourself in that situation?
Potentially. It depends on what exactly is going on. I have protected people from law enforcement. I have put just as Alex Preddy did the day, in moments before he was shot, I have put my body between an ICE agent and a weaker, smaller person that they were assaulting as a violation of their First Amendment right. Absolutely, I've done that. I've done it numerous times. There's footage of me doing it.
Do you think that that's a good idea?
Yeah.
And is a safe thing to do?
Because I'll die for a stranger's First Amendment right before I stay home. It's that simple.
Dude, I will say this. I hope you exercise the most extreme caution that you can.
No, fuck that. No. Too many people did that in the 30s in Germany. I refuse. My mom calls me all the time, and she has stopped telling me to stay safe because she knows I'm not going to until everybody is. I do not care for that argument. Kill me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'll die for what it says in the Constitution because that's why we get to live the lives we live. Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
Trump is not worth dying for.
The country is. People's civil rights are. Absolutely. I'd walk into a fire if it got him impeached.
Dude.
Because it would save more lives. I know it's difficult for me to prove that sitting here talking to you from the comfort of my apartment, but especially during Metro Surge, I went out there and put my money where my mouth is, and I put myself in these situations to protect my neighbors. And so I have the receipts on the fact that I'm not sitting here lying to you. No. I will die for this. I will die happily for this. If I die for this, I want to make sure that my following knows that I'm okay with that. Hang posters of me.
I believe you. I really do.
Yeah.
I will say this. I don't think that inserting yourself in between somebody who is being arrested for whatever reason and a law enforcement officer and trying to stop that from happening is a good place. I think if you want to fight law enforcement, you should do it in the courts. I mean, they've always said, don't fight a traffic ticket on the side of the road. You fight it in the courtroom.
What if it's not working in the courtroom? At what point? Let me ask you this. We have a Second Amendment, right? What is the Second Amendment for?
To right and bear arms and keep a well-regulated militia.
In case of what?
I don't know what the full terminology is, but in case of government tyranny, I suppose.
Yes. So we have 10 rights in the Bill of Rights, and one of them is to defend our country against a tyrannical government. It's written into the fucking Bill of Rights that you're supposed to behave in the way that I am. I don't own any firearms. I'm not doing it that way. But I am using my body. I am putting myself on the line because I recognize what's happening in America is tyrannical, because my reading level is a little bit higher than the third grade reading level required to see that that's what's happening. I don't want us to fall into civil war. I don't want to need a well-regulated militia. But the idea that it's no person's place to decide that what's happening in America is tyrannical and doing something about it is unconstitutional within of itself. Exactly when do we get permission to exercise our Second Amendment rights? We're not going to get it from the government.
The government is what gave us that right.
Yes. And they took it away when they murdered Alex Preddy for carrying a firearm legally, which he did not reach for, by the way. I know there's people in the chat saying that he did.
I will say this. I'm not going to say that this is 100% factual because you cannot speak on speculation. You can't argue on speculation.
But you could say that about anybody. Do you believe?
Yeah, I know.
I need to ask you this question. Do you think the government is capable of doing anything where it becomes reasonable for a citizen to use force to resist what the government is doing?
Yes. Okay,
so you can't just say that I shouldn't do any of the things that I'm doing at all. None of this protesting or good. I'm just going to mute you because lots of wind noise. You can't just say that by default it's wrong for me to participate in a resistance against the government. It's literally in the Bill of Rights that you're supposed to. So I have a really hard time with the fact that you recognize that there comes some line that the government can cross where it becomes appropriate for you to violate their rules. Do you think that people in Germany...
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it is blatantly dangerous and irresponsible.
I don't care if it's dangerous. Because I'm not as important as the Constitution. I'm willing to die for what I believe in, which makes it unimportant that it's dangerous.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't think we're getting anywhere again.
I mean, I appreciate that you're worried about me, but I think what you don't recognize is that I'm worried about you. I'm worried about your baby, dude. I don't want your kid to grow up during a civil war. But that's what we're fucking headed for if the government doesn't start following the Constitution. I don't want that. If a civil war starts, I'll probably die of an asthma attack because I won't be able to get an inhaler. Might as well fight, right?
I think we are due. I honestly, do you honestly believe that we are on the brink of civil war?
Yeah. I think if you look at history, when the Constitution stops being followed by the government of a country, it leads to bad outcomes, and one of them is a civil war. If it's not a civil war, if the people don't resist, it will just be tyranny. It will just be a dictatorship. Because that process of taking over the government such that the checks and balances don't work anymore will just continue. They are flailing, trying to change the rules of the midterms because they know that what they're doing is so unpopular with we the people that we're going to vote these assholes out of power so they can't continue the process I'm talking about. Big coincidence then that there's a dozen different things happening in the government right now that are all attempts to subvert democracy in the midterms. Disenfranchise voters who are more likely to vote blue. Put armed men at the polling places to scare Hispanic voters away because the armed men sent from the government have been awfully mean to Hispanics lately.
Here is the question here about that. I've heard about that. They're saying that they supposedly want to put ICE agents at polling stations.
It's one of the many horribly unconstitutional, dangerous things that they have floated. We don't know how, but of 10 horribly unconstitutional things floated by the government, they tend to do 2 or 3 of them. So I don't know if they're going to do that or not. I know that they are trying to pass the SAVE Act. I know that the president made an executive order changing the rules on mail-in voting, which is also flagrantly unconstitutional because it's not the job of the president, according to the direct letter of the law in the Constitution. There's a bunch of stuff.
Are they passing the SAVE Act? Because I don't even know. I haven't even heard about it for a while.
You did the same thing there, which is that you just moved on and said, well, some of these things might not happen. The fact that they're trying at all is cause for removal for anybody working on these things. And also, I'm not comforted by the fact that the iterations of the SAVE Act aren't passing. It would actually make the SAVE Act less dangerous if it passed sooner, because one of my biggest concerns with the SAVE Act is that people won't have time to get their documents, that the systems that we have in place, which were, by the way, gutted by Doge, are going to be overwhelmed by requests for updated birth certificates and passports, such that people won't be able to get their paperwork in time to vote in November. So if the SAVE Act passes closer to November, we are even more fucked.
So who would you blame in that situation then? Would you blame Republicans for passing it or Democrats for blocking it for so long that the people weren't able to get the documentation to vote?
I'd blame the Republicans, dude, for the same reasons that we started the call out. They don't want it to pass at all. They're trying to prevent it from passing, because if it passes in any form, it's likely that they're going to win the midterms by a landslide for reasons that are unconstitutional and illegal and undemocratic. So their goal is to have it not pass at all, but the worst case scenario is it passing right before November. It's a dangerous fight we're in.
So what is the one situation that they could actually pass this right now without any Democrat support? How could they pass the SAVE Act without Democrat support?
Well, they don't need it. They have majorities in both. It's just that the SAVE Act is so flagrantly unconstitutional that it doesn't have...
Well, no, they need 60 votes. They don't have 60
for that one? Forgive me if
they need 60. They don't have 60 without Democrat support.
All right, I'll trust you on that and say that maybe it won't pass. But again, the fact that they're trying it all, you can pick apart any of these individual things, but there's a concerted effort by the federal government to subvert democracy, and you're sitting here telling me, oh, well, this thing or that thing that they're doing probably isn't going to work for this reason. Dude, the fact that they're trying it all should have you out in the streets. Maybe you shouldn't be out in the streets. Maybe you should be at home taking care of your very pregnant wife. Maybe I'm out in the streets for you. Because not everybody can go out in the streets. Yeah, dude, maybe the best thing for you to do for America is to focus on raising your kid, because you've got priorities right now. I don't have any kids, so I'm out in the streets. I'm doing it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. I do wish you luck on your journey. I do sincerely hope that you don't try and insert yourself into law enforcement issues and try to avoid people from getting arrested, because that is just it's blatantly dangerous. I mean, they're.
I just don't care if it's dangerous.
I've told you. I've said this before. I've said this before. That
less
what
dangerous than letting the country fall into civil war.
Yeah. I've said this before, that what happened to Preddy was horrible.
Preddy died a martyr. The reaction to him and Renee Good's deaths, the way that the community here reacted to the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy are why ICE has, for now, surrendered. They have backed out of their shock and awe approach of throwing tear gas down city blocks. They've realized it's bad PR. They realize people like Oskar are making them look so bad that it's just not a good strategy. And that was a local win. But the war is not over. You know, the battle against this tyranny isn't over just because we have this local win. But I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to become complacent because of that little victory. That would be foolish.
So, I think I have asked you this before. Is your view on do you want ICE abolished?
I think that after this is all over, we still need immigrations and customs enforcement as a thing. I do think that what's happening with ICE has gone so wrong that we do need to abolish it and start over. We need to fire these employees for being complicit in what they've done. Even the employees at ICE that haven't committed civil rights violations, because so many have, and the people who have not been whistleblowers and have not resigned and have not, gotten out of it. They are supporting it by being complicit as employees of that branch of the government. They've got to go. Those people can't be working for the government anymore. Every one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to drop down. I feel like we're just kind of I'm wasting your time here, so.
Well, I know we talk in circles a lot, but like you're one of my more reachable callers. You at least listen to me, so that's why I give you so much airtime.
Yep. But
I have convinced you of things in the past. Yeah. I'm sure I'll talk to you again.
It's just, man, we just kind of go in circles all the time. It all just kind of comes back to the same things, and I don't really foresee that changing, but
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, all right. I'm sure we'll talk again. You have a good one.
All right. Yeah, later, buddy.
Always interesting talking to Iowa Golfer. Before I get to el.chico.tech.edu, because he's the only one in the queue, unless somebody else wants to hop up, because I'd prefer to have a new caller between two regular callers. Let's see. I got a buck from Will. He says Civil War asthma inhaler fund Dollar Train. Yeah, I gotta order more inhalers. I'm running out. And Charmander sent me $10 on Venmo and said per DM. Thank you, Charmander. I know the TikTok user that is. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's so frustrating hearing that argument over and over and over again. That like, oh, I want you to stay safe. It's like, for what? Like, so I can live in a dictatorship? Like, fuck that. Like, I don't have kids to worry about. I don't have dependents. I have a plan for my pets if I get arrested or murdered. There's a person who lives in this building who has a key to this apartment who knows that if I disappear, they're responsible for getting my pets to some people who, I've made my plans. It's okay. I tell my mother I love her when I talk to her on the phone. It's just, just too many people didn't think that way during, the experiment with tyranny that happened in the 20th century. It's just, anyway. Sorry, just like stewing on that for a second, because it's hard with a caller like Iowa Golfer who like kind of gets it. Like he knows I'm not just a grifter. He knows I'm not like being serious, like or being unserious and like trying to play this up for the views or anything. But it is also just frustrating that he's not. I think if he lived here, he'd see differently. He's a guy with kids, I think if he lived in Minneapolis during Metro Surge and saw what was happening here, what it was like to live here during that time, I think he'd be worried for his kids. But we're going to see what el.chico.tech.edu is going to have for me today. el.chico.tech.edu, you're a regular. You're 40, right?
Yeah, what's up, man? Dude, you're sounding more radical day by day. You're getting wild, bro.
I mean, it hasn't come up as much lately because things haven't been crazy here, but like nothing's new.
Yeah, I was listening to you, and I was like, what is up with Oskar? Like, dude, like you're getting wild, man.
Do you think it's wild to be aware what it says in the Second Amendment? You think that's a extremist position to know your rights?
For you as
listed in the Bill of Rights?
for you to say I'm the arbiter of protecting people in the constitutional right, and I'm gonna inject myself in people's business, especially their arrest or any whatever the case is, you don't even know what's going on.
Do you believe in the Second Amendment?
And you inject yourself into someone else's business. It's like, dude, that's why people.
Do you believe in this? Do you believe in the Second Amendment? Do you believe
in the Second Amendment? Yeah.
To protect people from tyranny?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so who is the arbiter if not me? If not we, the people?
Are we in a situation when you need to say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and blast a police officer?
Watch your language. You're on TikTok Live. I don't want you to get banned for talking about this with me. But the question is, if you believe in the Second Amendment, who is the arbiter of when it is time to exercise that right?
Everyone, not just you.
Okay. And people are more and more upset by the day. That's why we do No Kings protests, to show you how many people are upset.
No Kings?
Have you seen?
We don't have a king. So what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the hundreds of thousands of people who showed up on the streets of the Twin Cities metro area. I'm talking about the millions of people who hit the streets of the country.
And what were they protesting? A no king that which we don't even have.
He's doing king-like things that we don't.
He's doing king-like things. Hasn't the Supreme Court stopped him from doing certain things?
Not all of them. Not fast enough.
Not all of them, and not fast enough. So your complaint is that the court's not moving fast enough, and they're not just rejecting all his policies. So you just don't like.
That's not what I said. I didn't say that they should. No, I didn't say that they should reject all of his policies. I'm saying that the two branches of government that are supposed to check the power of the president have not acted swiftly enough to check the fact that he's doing a great many unconstitutional things.
So regardless if the Supreme Court makes a decision saying, oh, well, Trump can't do this. Well, the Supreme Court can't tell the executive branch what to do, because guess what? We have three co-equal branches of government. I mean, one branch could impeach the president.
And they should.
Can he not? Yeah. And it actually takes two branches to do it. It takes the Supreme Court to be the judge.
Just Congress.
Oh no! So no one in the Supreme Court gets involved in the impeachment proceedings?
I don't believe so. No.
No, you might want to look that up.
I'm going to trust the people in the chat who are lighting it up. The chat is lighting up saying that I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just going to think that I...
No, there is...
No, I've followed multiple impeachment proceedings. No.
During the confirmation, there is a Supreme Court judge that not the confirmation, I'm sorry. Because there's, what is it? The process of the impeachment is... None of these...
You realize none of these rules matter if the people in these branches of government aren't following the rules, though, right?
Or like Tim Walz with his fraud. I mean, you're bitching and complaining about Trump, but then you have this $900 million fraud that just swept under the nose.
Why are you whatabouting with Tim Walz? Show me the law he broke.
What do you mean?
Pivot.
Did you not watch the news yesterday? I mean, you don't watch local news?
I was at the sentencing. I was in the court building when that happened. I was in the lobby.
You agree? So you're part of the idiots that were protesting?
I was protesting the presence of Donald Trump's prior personal lawyer, who's currently acting acting attorney general, coming to my state and talking about fraud when the president himself is a fraudster. I interrupted a news conference with one of the prosecutors to ask the prosecutor who has defrauded the American people of more money, the president or Amy Bach. That's why I was there. Amy Bach belongs in prison. She did bad things.
Well, it was not only.
If anybody has footage of me interrupting that news conference, please. I wasn't able to record because you're not allowed to in the lobby of the federal building, but a bunch of people did. If anybody can find footage of me interrupting the news conference yesterday, please send it to me. But that's why I was there.
So Amy Bach, what was she prosecuted for? Like $5 million out of the 900?
I forget. It was a lot. She got a very hefty sentence. She's going to prison for 41 years.
Yeah, like 50 years, I think. But you're protesting 41 years? Oh, okay. But you're protesting Trump because you think he's a fraudster, but yet fraud is underneath your nose.
Trump has defrauded. I'm protesting because Trump has defrauded the American people of more money than Amy Bach.
Of more money?
Yes.
Oh, so it's a tier thing. It's a tier system.
They both belong in prison. And it is a tiered system. If you commit more crimes, you go to prison for longer. It is indeed a tiered system.
So, I mean, if you care so much about the kids and you just saw that the system is fraudulent and you saw that over $900 million of taxpayer funds were defrauded.
Just the other day, Trump defrauded the American people of $1.776 billion, which is going to a slush fund to protect such people as the J6 rioters. Like, yes, Trump is the bigger problem. That's why I was there
J6
protesting.
rioters, people who isn't protesting. You're fighting that protesting is your First Amendment right, but yet you're crying that Trump is making a fund.
They broke into the Capitol building.
Who's they? Are you talking about the 26?
The J6 rioters.
So you're talking about some of the 26 federal confidential FBI informants that were paid by the government to be there? What were they there?
I'm talking about the 1,000 people that Trump pardoned for breaking into the Capitol on January 6th.
Okay, so protesting is bad? Is protesting bad?
That's not protesting. That's insurrection.
Insurrection. Who does the Capitol belong to, by the way?
The federal government, the people.
Okay, the people. So the people have the authority to be there, do they not?
No, that's not how it works.
No? That's not how it works?
I protest at the Whipple building, but we don't storm the Whipple building. We don't break into it and try to unalive people. We protest outside of it so that they see us yelling at them when they drive in and out of the parking lot.
So what you're telling me is people cannot go into Congress and protest, but it's okay for you to disrupt ICE agents.
They erected
get
gallows
into people's business,
to hang the vice president.
Burn a bunch of cities down during BLM.
You're just pivoting onto other things. You're just pivoting to other things.
Take over cities, but
there's no talking
the J6 is the issue.
Why do you think it was okay for them to go into that building and try to stop the certification of the election?
They were protesting.
They were trying to stop the certification of the election. Did they succeed?
They were protesting.
Yes, they delayed the certification of the election. Congress had to be called into recess because the building was under attack. What are you talking about?
Well, what I'm talking about, it was a multi-agency effort to stop the counting, because they knew that Trump was going to go ahead and
Chico.tech, you're not able to. You're not. I'm going to move on for today because you're not able to stay on one thing.
What happened with the pipe bombers?
I don't know what you're talking about, and it's another pivot.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
I am going to move on because you're not able to stick with one thing today. Usually you are.
No, because J6, it was a multi-effort.
Try again another day, dude. I can't give you this much airtime on my show, especially if you're just not even able to stay on a single topic. We're going to talk to background noise after I remind everybody to go to the link tree in my bio and follow me on the other platforms. That doesn't cost you a dime, and it supports the project that I'm working on. And if you've got a dime you want to spare, you can send it to my Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. That supports the show. Background noise. How old are you?
Hey, good afternoon. 24.
24. You support Trump?
No. I support you. Just gonna ask if you could
ask your question, and then I'm gonna kick you. But yeah, get your piece out. What is it?
Understood. Could you ask these guys to explain the difference between Renee Good, some of these other protesters, Kyle Rittenhouse, and these January 6th protesters? I don't get the hypocrisy. That's all.
I have asked them, if they think that these people deserve to die, then did Kyle Rittenhouse deserve to die? They just can't see the parallel. Some of them actually do say that Kyle Rittenhouse deserved to die, because the problem with that approach to the conversation is that people on the right don't actually have much allegiance to Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, he doesn't really matter to them. He is just one guy. He doesn't represent a political movement. So they're willing to throw him under the bus to say that he also should have died. So it just doesn't really matter. It's not like the strongest argument. And also, like, he did something so much worse than Alex Preddy that I don't think it was like, I don't think it's a fair comparison to Alex Preddy to bring Rittenhouse up, because he clearly went there with actually the intention of using that firearm. He brought it as a show of force and a display, whereas Alex Preddy was just carrying it legally, concealed, as he is licensed to do. There was no reason for anybody to learn that Alex Preddy was carrying a firearm. So it's just, I don't actually really like the comparison very much. But I don't have a caller right now, so I am going to urge everybody to get double tapping away on the screen to get some new people in here. I'm always so conflicted about el.chico.tech.edu, because he's good for the gram. He says some dumb things that are clippable, but he's on every other live. He just calls into every other live, and there's just no talking to the guy. There's no getting him to see reason about literally anything at all whatsoever. And today was just pivot. It was just, no matter what I said about whatever we were talking about, he would just move on to one other thing. He would tell me that Walls belongs in prison. David's asking, am I only bringing up ops? Yes, for now. It's not quite... generally after 11:30, which is 20 minutes from now in my time zone, I accept friendly callers. But I'll just read the chat until we have a new caller, because I want to give you guys some attention too. Cameron says, impossible to have a conversation with a person who is so stuck in their ways. Yeah, I mean, how is it that you can say that Tim Walz was doing something illegal when you can't even point to the law that he's broken, when I can literally point to multiple places in the law and in the Constitution that Trump is violating, and they're just like, nah, never mind, what about Walz? It's insane. There's no thinking going on here. I'm going to scroll up in the chat. el.chico.tech.edu is still causing a storm in the chat. Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, you pick a topic next time you come up, right? Like, if you're just gonna move on to the next thing every time I respond to anything you say. Oh, OrangeLazarus is here. We're gonna get reminded how old he is, and we're gonna have another conversation. How old are you, OrangeLazarus?
30.
30. I know you to be opposition. You're a Trump supporter, correct?
Formerly.
Oh, that's right. I always forget that you're no longer a Trump supporter, but I don't have another call, so I'll give you a minute. What do you want to discuss?
I just want to, I guess, try to persuade you into Marxism-Leninism is the only path forward for American politics.
All right, shoot, go for it.
Well, one, there is the historical argument which is that vanguard parties and broader Marxist-Leninist states have been the only ones that have actually really eliminated the parasitic effect of monopoly and finance capital.
And how does that normally go for those countries?
China is thriving and outmoding the United States as we speak.
You don't believe in free speech? They don't have free speech in China.
China has free speech.
They do not.
Okay, what can they not do? What can they meaningfully not do?
They don't have access to the global internet in China.
Do you know why that is?
Because the government enacts control over information.
Why do you think it's important for the Chinese government to block Western internet? Look at, for example,
so that the people in China don't wake up and resist the actions of their government, which includes such things as genociding the Uyghur people in Eastern China or Western China.
Okay, well, we can.
China's up to no good.
Uyghur. Can we table the Uyghur thing for a second? Because
no, we can't table the civil. We cannot table the civil rights abuses of a government that you're defending. Absolutely not. That'd be such a silly thing for me to do on my show. Why would I do that?
Do you debate that there's reason to believe that the so-called Uyghur genocide is completely made up and a CIA psyop?
Perhaps if the internet was free in China, we'd have better evidence, but it isn't, so we don't. Very suspicious. I think that the internet in China should be free.
Do you know what the largest tourist destination in China is?
I don't off the top of my head. I doubt that it's relevant.
It's the Xinjiang region. It's the Xinjiang region. Where the Uyghur Muslims live.
Okay.
You can go there and see for yourself if they're oppressed or not.
Have you done that?
The overwhelming evidence, yes, I've been there. Yes, the overwhelming evidence is that it is not. And a lot of what you hear about the Uyghur genocide is pure propaganda. The backing of this is that if you actually trace the sources, well, you yawn, but if you trace the sources for the so-called Uyghur genocide, it is all tied back to one of two sources: the CIA or a guy named Adrian Zenz, who is a Christian nationalist that believes that it is God's. Jesus came to him and said, "You need to destroy communism." That's it. That's the only sources. Okay. Satellite images are just prisons. They're completely vague. This is the same kind of playbook that they did with the WMDs. And so why would you trust the CIA?
I don't know why you're trusting China.
Do you think that China or the CIA has a better track record of being honest with their constituents?
The CIA or China?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard question. I'm not educated enough on how China communicates with their people to wager an opinion on that one.
Do you know, for example,
but I know that they don't have freedom of speech, and I think that that's really problematic. And it doesn't really answer my question the reason we got to China is because I said, show me in the world where it's working, and you're talking about a country that I really disagree with the public policies on. I really disagree with the civil rights that people who live in China have, even if we're going to table the fact that I do think they were genociding the Uyghurs and you don't, because you went there yourself and apparently you seen it. I can trust you, bro, on that and still not like the civil rights that a Chinese citizen has.
All right, well, there's other evidence to support these claims. One is that there's actually no real tangible proof. And
we are going to just ignore all the countries that have tried Marxism and immediately devolved into dictatorships, right?
Did the Soviet Union immediately devolve into a dictatorship?
I think within a lifetime is pretty fast, yeah.
Okay, so you think Stalin was what? Tyrannical dictator that went against the best wishes of its people?
Yeah, I think that if you need to reference the actions of Stalin when trying to talk about how it should be in America, I think that your head's up your ass, and I don't think that anybody would vote for that.
No.
What is the path towards Marxism in America? What are you suggesting we do?
Okay, this is a good question. One, you learn from history. How did successful Marxism-Leninism, vanguard parties or political organization work in places like China and Russia, which actually did challenge U.S. hegemony?
Okay, no, let me try again. I believe you. We should become Marxist in America. Let's do it. Who do I vote for?
Well, do you understand anything about Marxism-Leninism as it pertains to electoralism?
You got me. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm sold. I believe in your political ideology. You've got my platform at your disposal. What do I tell my 60,000 followers?
You tell them, first and foremost, I think voting for a third party would be a good start.
Okay, you don't think that trying to get the two-party system to create ranked choice voting in the federal government would be better than telling people to vote independent now?
Well, ranked choice voting will never happen because the political class is controlled by monopoly and finance capital who own the state.
So you think that it's more likely in America for us to elect a third-party Marxist candidate to the federal government than it is for us to enact ranked choice voting, which would actually give us a path towards getting a Marxist candidate on the ticket? I don't even think you understand American politics enough to know how to promote your own ideologies, dude. Why am I doing a better job than you?
Have you read Lenin, What Is to Be Done, or The State and Revolution? Do you understand what Marxism-Leninism even is?
I did read that in high school, though. I don't remember.
Okay, so what was Lenin's point about what is to be done?
I don't remember. It's been 15 years since.
Okay, so you don't know. Right?
Once again,
can you just admit that you don't know?
Once again, you didn't answer my question. If we are going to have a conversation about your very silly political ideologies,
how can I have a conversation with someone who's so ignorant as to the facts? That you're a so-called political expert. How do you not know these things?
I don't claim to be a political expert. I claim to know what it says in the Constitution.
And yet you know that China is somehow wrong and committing moral atrocities, despite the fact that, according to Western polling, 95% of Chinese people support the government. It's very easy to see why, considering if you look at what China was like even in the 90s compared to now. I think it seems pretty reasonable to assume that regular people would support this.
Okay.
You can hand wave that as much as you want.
I do. I don't take you seriously at all. Sorry.
Well, you don't. Mao
the fact that you have a third-party ideology that you're trying to promote and your priority isn't ranked choice voting just shows exactly how far your head is up your ass. Your head's so far up your ass, I can't believe how long your neck is. Do
you know what a vanguard party is?
No.
Okay, so how do you know anything about how Marxism-Leninism enters?
You're not addressing my concern. You're pushing a third-party ideology. You recognize that Marxism.
What is your concern?
My concern is that if you want to push a third-party ideology in America, you need to focus on ranked choice voting because it is the only path.
Why is that the prerequisite?
Because there's no way to achieve widespread appeal for a third-party ideology in this country without ranked choice voting.
Do you think the two-party system that couldn't even get behind Medicare for all? You think they're going to do ranked choice voting?
I think they're more likely to do ranked choice voting than Leninism.
Well, I mean, that's according to you. I think there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. But what is the incentive for the corporate duopoly to participate in ranked choice voting, which threatens that corporate duopoly.
People actually, ranked choice voting is necessarily a more popular ideology than any particular third-party ideology. Listen to my point. Because
since when is popular?
Listen to my point, as I'm answering your concern directly. I know I've been pretty fucking apathetic for this whole stupid call that's tanking the viewership, but I don't really care.
You've been smug. You've been smug and annoying.
Deservedly, I would say. So I'm going to finish my point, which is that there's one thing.
You don't know anything.
You're not letting me talk. You're not. I've given you the floor for most of this call, and you're not even. Now that I'm giving you pushback, you're not letting me talk. So I'm going to talk over you until you let me talk, because there's one thing that everybody who wants to. Dude, shut the fuck up. Why are you on my show?
I know more about this than you do. So
then why aren't you letting me talk? Let me make a fool of myself.
Okay, make a fool of yourself. Go for it.
Okay, I would say that there's one thing that everybody who wants a third-party ideology to take the main stage in America agree on, which is that they want ranked choice voting, because it's the only thing that's going to let a third party take major control of the federal government. So the fact that you're more concerned with pushing your very narrow third-party ideology instead of teaming up with all the third-party ideologists and saying, hey, let's together get ranked choice voting passed at the federal level for the presidential seat and for all these other important positions, get it in more states and more positions. That way we all have a chance, and then once that's the case, you can fight against the other third parties to press your ideology. The fact that you don't see that as the path forward for your ideology shows that you have no idea what you're doing, and there's no chance of you affecting the outcome in the country that you want. So yeah, I don't take you seriously. I've been smug and apathetic about this call because it's a subject matter about which one should be smug and apathetic.
You're doing a performance, I get it, but
that's what I do. Linktree in the bio. Pay me for my performance. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it's fine. But you're ignoring the fact that it is the primary contradictions in regards to ranked choice voting is you, have to build a strong enough coalition to actually force concessions at this level.
Thank you, Garrett, for the $10 for the arbitration of my constitutional rights. Garrett, I'm looking out for you, buddy. Sorry, what nonsense are you saying?
Okay, no reason for the hostility, but
There's
anyway.
So much reason for the hostility.
Yeah, because you don't know. But again, you are hostile to something you have yourself admitted you don't understand. So why should your opinion hold any weight?
I've already answered that in this call. I think I've demonstrated my position on it just fine. Just because you're capable of bringing up nuances about Marxism and Leninism that I don't remember from when I studied it carefully 10 or 15 years ago. Then
which you haven't remember.
You haven't remember. Yeah, I don't remember everything. I'm not. Yes,
You can't even remember the basics, though. You can't remember the basics.
You haven't answered my concern. You haven't answered my concern. It's just chat. Keep her. There's nobody in the queue. There's nobody in the queue. So it's me alone or me and this guy. Chat. Tell me keep or kick. This is a waste of my time. I'll do either. Whatever the chat wants.
Time according to you. According to you.
Yep. I run the show.
You
actually, according to the audience, because I. Oh my God, we got a fucking libertarian in the queue. Let's talk to Dr. Galt again. Goodbye, OrangeLazarus. Good luck with your ideologies.
All right.
Dr. Galt, how old are you?
35. I was coming to save you from the Marxist-Leninists. I know that guy.
Yeah, I know him too. It's just, whatever.
So,
what's up?
I wanted to talk to you about ranked choice voting. Are you familiar with how New York works?
Yeah, there is ranked choice voting. I was talking about for the president, but yeah.
Yeah, but I also think there's still roadblocks of getting signatures to get a candidate even on the ballot. So I think even with ranked choice voting, when we talk about third parties, I think there's still the issue, and you saw Democrats do this in their own party to knock out third party candidates in New York by making it so you have to get so many ballots or so many signatures to even get on the ballot, to get your party on the ballot. So
the system improved in a way that's in favor of my argument, and you're going to point out the ways in which it could have improved more?
I'm not arguing against you. I'm just bringing that point forward.
Okay, but why are you bringing up the fact that it's ranked choice voting is better for third parties? True or false?
If the third party can actually get on the ballot, sure.
On average, for any given third-party candidate, is ranked choice voting good or bad for that candidate, all else kept equal in the law? True or false?
Well, again, it would be true if you can actually get on the ballot.
No. When you introduce an additional if, what you're doing is ignoring what I just said, which is all else kept equal. You're saying no. Unless we don't keep all else equal, then there's this concern. Yes or no, you are more likely to win the seat if you have a ranked choice voting system like you do in New York, even though there are still things working against you.
The answer would be no, because if you can't get on the ballot, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, but so you have some chance of getting on the ballot, and then once you're on the ballot, you have some chance of winning, correct? There's these two things that you have to do?
Yeah, but
listen, you said yes. So even if your chances of getting on the ballot don't change, but your chances of winning do increase, that's still good for your likelihood of winning. No?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's fine.
You disagreed with that about 60 seconds ago.
Yeah, I don't think that's contention.
What the fuck are we talking about?
I'm just saying that we've seen historically with ranked choice voting that there's still a mechanism for a third party to be restricted from the ballot altogether. Yeah,
and I think that should be corrected. I don't think that's... What are we talking... Why are we arguing this?
We're not... I don't... Well, you're the one arguing with me. I don't really understand why. I think we're in agreement.
I don't know. You I don't think we are in agreement, or you're not in agreement with yourself, because you've said contradictory things in the brief time you've been on my show. 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
No, I've said I've agreed with you, and then I said they would also need to make it so that the signatures didn't cause candidates to not be able to get on the ballot.
This is black and white thinking, which I know that from our previous calls that you're very good at. Just because you didn't accomplish everything that you want for third-party candidates doesn't mean that we haven't improved the likelihood of a third-party candidate to win. You're ignoring that for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm not ignoring that. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, now you're agreeing with me. Thank you for the Elvis here. Thank you very much.
Well, I was agreeing with you and then also saying, hey, there's still an issue with the concept that also needs to get resolved.
Okay, so that's a separate topic. I also think I don't know what the signature requirements for third-party candidates in New York are, and if we were talking about ranked choice voting in any particular election, federal or otherwise, I might have an opinion about that, but it just hasn't come up yet, and I just don't really think it's all that important. To the discussion today. It is important for the elections, yes. I'm just saying, so we don't even have ranked choice voting in most places. Why are we talking about this?
Well,
you don't even believe in government. You're a libertarian.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, but I have to.
Which is why it's a fucking waste of time to talk about these rules with you. You don't give a shit.
Why? What do you mean I don't give a shit?
You don't believe in taxes, dude. Like, that's why I don't I'm kind of I've had this thing happen on my show where I've talked to a lot of libertarians for the last couple of weeks, and it's just kind of beginning to dominate the discourse when I just don't think that that's valuable, because you and the previous caller, people like you, don't have a pragmatic approach to what can actually happen in America, and I run the show to elicit positive change in the country that I live in, and I'm not sure that's accomplished by talking to people like you.
Well,
you're more stuck on the definition of a democratic socialist than who we should vote for, and I'm really concerned with who people should vote for.
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually was being pragmatic with agreeing with ranked choice voting, and now you're trying to say I'm not a pragmatic person.
You got awfully stuck on the fact that you didn't seem to understand that getting ranked choice voting doesn't, it still increases a person's chances, even if there's another step in the process, getting the petition to get on the ballot, that's still going to be unfair on them. It's just, I don't know, dude. What's the topic? What are we talking about? Why are you on my show?
Again, I think we agreed there's miscommunication, man.
So let's move on to something else.
Sure.
I know from talking to you in the past, I'll give this closing line on it, which is that I know it's impossible for you to admit that you were wrong about something, because you are now contradicting what you said at the beginning of the call. I don't need you to admit that you're wrong. I think we've discussed it enough. Can we move on to something else?
Well, I'll admit that I was wrong in the fact that there was a misunderstanding of what I said. That's fine.
Okay.
If you want to take that W.
So are you recanting what you said?
I'm not recanting. I think it was just misunderstood by you.
Okay, then we can let the audience judge, and I don't care. I don't have an ego like that. It really doesn't matter to me.
Well, what do you want to talk about? With you. Ranked choice voting is good. However, there's still a.
How about this? How about this?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna get I want to print out some W's that I can feed to the camera. Here's your W, Dr. Galt. Can we move on?
I don't even care about W's, but I just came up to actually save you from that insufferable conversation with the Marxist-Leninist. So
yeah, you didn't. Conversations with you are pretty insufferable too.
I'm sure. I think what is your take though on someone like him? If we gave central control of the government and he was able to install your last guess, if he was able to install his ideology into the government, would you be in favor of that?
No. Historically, that type of hardcore Marxism is very, very bad. The only good example he had was like one functioning country that still is communist, which is China, and we discussed the civil rights abuses in China, which he denies. So yeah, no, I don't want that. I know that you're so stuck in 20th century philosophical definitions that you think that because I identify as a democratic socialist, which on the American political spectrum puts me in the same place as AOC or Bernie Sanders, you're so concerned with what a book from the 40s would tell you a democratic socialist is, instead of the social democrat that Americans that identify as democratic socialists are. Like, you're so stuck on that you can't even recognize that I'm so much closer to a normal Democrat than the previous caller. I'm eons away from that guy.
Well, you're kind of crashing out. I was just asking you a question, man. You don't have to crash out. That's fine. I agree that there's a difference. He would kill you in the revolution. He just won't say it. That's fine.
If this is me crashing out, I don't know what crashing out is.
Yeah, I'm just saying he would kill you in the revolution. That's why there's a difference. That's why I would rather talk to someone like you. You don't want a bloody revolution, I would hope.
I don't want a bloody revolution at all, and I think it's naive for you to think you know how I'd behave when one starts.
What do you mean, how naive? I would say you'd probably be against it. Is that naive?
I would be against a civil war starting in this country, but I would participate in it if one started.
Okay, so you'd be on the side of the revolutionists?
I'd be on the side of the Constitution. I would argue that the other side's are the revolutionists.
Okay, so you would promote Marxist-Leninist revolution, but then you just like made fun of that guy?
Nope, I would promote the ideals written in the Constitution.
Oh, okay, so you'd be on his side?
No, I don't think he'd be on anybody's side. He's a third party. We spent the whole call talking about how he's not on either side of the partisan thing that's happening in America right now. And you're trying to ball me in with him because you don't want me to ball you in with you or whoever else. And it's not honest discourse, man. Like, no, dude, that's the guy. If I was running a troop of rebels while we were like fighting in the Civil War, I wouldn't let that guy on my team. I'd say, no, that dude's a problem. Get him out of here. He's not allowed to have secret meetings.
So then you'd be against the Marxist revolution. I'm just curious. That's what I assume.
I don't want there to be a Marxist revolution. Why are you... I think so few people want there to be a Marxist revolution that I genuinely don't understand why we're talking about it.
Well, because you said I assumed you didn't want to be part of it, or you did. I was just trying to clear up what you were saying.
Okay.
And like in one sentence, you said you'd be part of the revolution, and the other part you said, well, you wouldn't be on his side.
You are making the leap of saying that if there's a revolution, one of the sides in it is going to be his side. I'm saying that's horseshit, and you know it, and you're being dishonest.
So you don't think well, I'm saying if he were to start it, would you be on his side?
No.
Okay, so then that's all you have to say. I was assuming you wouldn't be either. We agree.
Have I been unclear? Chat, yes or no? Have I been unclear about my position on the previous caller's idea of revolution? Marxism isn't a political ideology that's taken seriously by any large group of people in this country. It's not one of the two sides we're talking about. It's some nonsense from the past that's not irrelevant. It's not relevant to American politics right now. But you are so stuck on the books that you've read that have shoved your head so far up your ass that you think that being a libertarian in America in 2026 is reasonable, that you can't see it any other way. And that's embarrassing, Dr. Galt.
Thanks. Well, I guess it would be relevant because let me ask you this. Did you give the book that I gave you to read? Did you ever read it?
No, I did what I said I was going to do. I read the Wikipedia page of the person who wrote it and decided not to read it.
Okay, so there's a prominent Democratic Socialist, and do you think...
he's the ex-vice chair of Democratic Socialists of America, yeah.
Okay, and you think he's just not worth reading?
Correct.
Okay, so what should I read then to learn your ideology?
The Constitution.
The Constitution?
Yep.
So you think the Constitution is a direct representation of what democratic socialism should be?
I think the Constitution is a direct representation of what I am upset about happening in America right now.
Okay, me too. But that doesn't still give... So what do you think should happen? What ought to happen based on the Constitution then?
Trump's got to be impeached, man. He's violating that Constitution left and right.
Okay, so we do that and Vance comes in, whatever.
And then Vance has to behave in such a way that he's worried about getting impeached by violating the Constitution. So perhaps he won't violate the Constitution. Or if he does violate the Constitution, Congress, which just impeached Trump for violating the Constitution, well, guess what? Impeach Vance for violating the Constitution. I think that'd be good. That's what I want. I've been very clear on that since the beginning. Since I appeared online, that's what I've been telling people.
Okay, cool. So that happens. Great. How does that fix what violations has Trump done on the Constitution that you'd like to see him get impeached for?
I'm unwilling to start that list back at the beginning. I've discussed it so many times today. I'm going to declare friendly time. Goodbye, Dr. Galt. He doesn't care. He doesn't believe in the Constitution. He's a libertarian. He doesn't want any of those rules. The guy doesn't believe in taxation. Friendly time. Does somebody want to come chat? Rescue me from the boredom of talking to people who don't have a position that's like worth discussing in this. The apathy is a little performative, and I could tell it bothered both of them. So I'm just, like... How you doing, Machete?
I'm good, man. I just had one thing I wanted to suggest.
Remind me how old you are, quick.
I'm 49.
49. Just got to follow the rules, even though you're friendly.
No problem.
Yeah, what's up?
So I think you should consider calling it penis prison, because it just kind of like the alliteration helps it, I think.
Oh, yeah. For me, I hear you. My penis prison is good. I like alliteration, but I think I like lyrical flow a little bit more than I like...
Okay.
So say penis prison 10 times fast.
I don't think I could do it. I don't know if
penis jail. See?
You're right.
Rolls off the tongue. You are talking to a musician. I write lyrics.
You cooked me.
W host.
I should have known better than to try that.
Raven in the chat disagrees with me. Raven, when we hang out in person, refers to it as penis prison, but I say penis jail. You know what? I don't actually think it matters. I would argue that penis jail is where you hang out until you're properly convicted, and then you go to penis prison. But I never made it to penis prison. I'm getting out on bail.
So like penis jail would be for like small time offenders.
Yeah. Having your rubber weight. It actually wasn't for anything at the Whipple. It was because I did an interview at KTSP, one of the news stations here in the metro, and me and Dr. Dankenstein like filmed some B-roll of us like dancing with the rubber penises out, like in front with the radio tower like right behind us, or the antenna tower, like the logo right behind us. And it was that Instagram story that got me put in penis jail for 30 days, and that ended today. I'm no longer in penis prison, penis jail, whatever it is, so I can start monetizing on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram and you want to be a member on there, that would be lovely. But yeah, no more penis jail for Oscar. For now, we'll see if I go back there.
Well, congratulations on getting out. Let's hope you don't go back soon.
Yeah. I have to censor myself on here, and the lesson we protesters learned is that Instagram will allow some rubber penis nonsense, but it really can't be front and center to the video. So if there's people in the background wearing them, or they're just like around in the video, that tends to be fine. But if the main subject of the camera is wearing them, or you're holding one or something like that, we got to blur that. That's where we're lots of people ended up in penis jail after Operation Dildo Blitz. So
like background penises are fine.
Background penises are fine.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah. It's like just like I have to learn how to talk about these issues on TikTok Live in a way that doesn't get me banned. I have to learn how to navigate our avant-garde protesting means in a way that doesn't get me banned. So it's just all stuff to worry about. Yeah. I'm excited about the monetization. It's exciting that I'm quitting my job and doing this full time, which I will be making the announcement after my last day of work, because I'm just waiting until I no longer work at the place to like really talk about it. But yeah, this show is like very much my full-time concern right now, and that was true while I was in penis jail. Like the other streams are making it happen. So let the Wookiee in just put it in the chat. 47,000 on Instagram. It was 45 or something when I woke up this morning. It's going fast. I'm gonna cross 50,000 like tomorrow or something. So gotta just thank everybody for supporting, because it's just absolutely nuts. Anyway, got anything else for me, Machete?
No, that's all I had. I just wanted to, but you're right, penis jail works better. I didn't think about the lyrical flow.
Appreciate you. I'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
W's in the chat for Machete. We're going to talk to Leah Part, who is definitely a donor. I feel like I've seen that name in the Venmos, maybe. And on Gerrymander America, I'll bring you up soon. How old are you, Leah?
Hi, Oscar. I'm 41. I'm in Tennessee.
Welcome to the panel. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Give me just a second. Let me turn you up here so I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, great. So what I wanted to come up here and talk about is, have you heard of Project for the People?
Maybe. No, I don't think so.
So it's a growing grassroots online community that is founded by Danny Cook. She's known here on TikTok. And I believe she's also on Facebook and YouTube. And Project for the People is a way to get local districts together with all of the resources that she has created and be able to talk to our communities about being more involved locally so that we can change our policies and things like that so we can help our communities. So, things, bringing them to the awareness of how the One Big Beautiful Bill is affecting people's SNAP benefits, Medicaid benefits, and other things like that.
And that sort of thing, like just getting people more involved, more knowledgeable?
Yes, exactly.
Excellent.
And so as far as today an update on today, we have as many as 446 counties in the United States, over 48 states involved. And what's really cool about this is that it just continues to grow every day. And again, she gives you free resources and classes so that you can do things like role-playing conversations to keep people from shutting down your ideas.
Yeah, that's lovely. We're putting together some resources on the Discord, or that's the plan anyway, to kind of make it a resource center. So I'll definitely bookmark this and consider it as something to consider. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't too sure if that was her website that I saw you pull up. It didn't look familiar.
Maybe I found the wrong one.
Actually,
yeah, if you want to just message
DM
me,
you a flyer.
just DM me a flyer. By the way, I will just request, because I have to use the bathroom, if I could have one of the mods hop up, if somebody can hop on the panel. Almost made it to the end.
I will mute up.
No worries for now until I have somebody come up. I was just trying to make it the 2 hours, but I'm not quite going to. But if Raven or somebody or Will or somebody could hop up. Send me a DM definitely, and I'll take a look, and we can take a look at that.
Okay, great. Yeah, because if we can get more outreach and more people working together in their communities to just pass out these free flyers or these door hangers or just, have the discussions. We're looking to make a change at the local level so that we can...
All right, I'm sorry I had to disconnect her. I just really got to use the bathroom. Oh, Ezra's here. Ezra, take the floor. Sorry, everybody.
Hey, can you hear me? I don't know how much fun this is going to be. I don't know how to live host as much as I used to. I used to do this a lot whenever I was doing historical interpretation at a local living history place. But yeah, I think that this has been a really fun day. It seems like everyone's been mildly respectful at the very least. So that's always a nice thing to hear. Let's see here. I don't know if there's anything fun going on in everyone else's life, if everyone wants to talk about. It seems like friendly hour. If there's anything that people want to say that they're grateful for, let's make this a Thanksgiving party. Definitely running out of MAGA. I don't know. I think that it's a really good thing. I think that people are scrambling. I've noticed that a lot in my community in little Midwest Missouri, outside of Kansas City. I do a lot of local history for Missouri 1850s, so talking about Civil War history, funny enough, so talking about, unfortunately, what was going on prior to the Civil War here in Missouri, talking about because it's kind of related to John Brown, but the 1850s was a little bit more talking about bleeding Kansas and talking about basically falsifying elections. In Missouri, there was a lot of people going over and illegally voting in Kansas in the 1856 election to try to get Kansas to be a slave state. And when that was going on, I have a lot of records of people that have houses at the Living History Museum I work with that were living in communities here in Missouri that were going over and basically holding election judges at gunpoint. So that was a terrifying thing for a lot of people. So it caused a huge ruckus. I firmly believe that the Civil War started far before 1861. And just all the heat of that, all that buildup, it was a really, really big thing. I know that a lot of places were sanctuary states. There's a lot of houses in this area that were part of the Underground Railroad. But unfortunately, in my neck of the woods, it was a lot of people leaning with the enslavers and a lot of the records and stuff. It's this idea that has lingered for so long that they didn't do anything wrong, that they were good enslavers. It was this terrible ideology. So I think that I'm very grateful for the world that we live in now, that I have been able to talk about that and people aren't as uncomfortable with it. And I think that I am able to talk about things that make people uncomfortable pretty openly because of that. And because of that.
You certainly do that effectively on my show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for saving me there. I want to issue my apology to Leah, who I totally kicked because I'd been holding my pee for about 40 minutes. I thought I'd make it to the end,
man.
But over the course of about 30 seconds, I realized that wasn't going to work, and I needed to get out of here. Okay,
yeah.
Leah says no worries in the chat, so I'm sorry. I felt bad while I was in the bathroom.
You're good.
2 hour show every day. It's going to happen from time to time because I drink a lot of coffee in the morning.
Only good enslavers are ones that won't go into history, for sure. I have a lot of friends that work in genealogy, so people being like, well, I didn't have any enslavers in my family history. You probably do and you don't know it. It was on different documentation than the ones you're looking at, and it's very strange to actually look at how many people were benefiting from it, even at a local level, because it was unfortunately property and people were looking at it like we look at renting out houses now. You would rent out enslaved people for just menial day labor. And it was a really unfortunate part of our history. I get why people were very anti taking away our property, taking away property rights, but they firmly distinguished it from human rights.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's something that I always have to talk about with what's in the Constitution. It came up just today with like how slavery was never protected by the Constitution. It just wasn't outlawed by it, which makes some of these things that are happening right now very different than what Lincoln did. But I mean, everybody 250 years ago was a monster by modern standards. We're trying to get better, trying to improve as we go, and the fact that people need to dig that deep into our history to resist some of the stuff that's happening right now it's a sign. Yeah, it's a sign of where their minds are.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating thing that it's both so long ago, but not that long ago at all. Like all the civil rights stuff was less than 100 years ago. That's wild.
It's a living memory, I mean, my grandmother's 90. I talked to her about World War II.
Yeah.
I'm a descendant of World War II refugees.
Oh man. Yeah, I know that you were talking, I think that was a couple of days ago, about your family having come over after a lot of things that were going on here in America.
What do you mean?
I think that you were talking about it being after, like, World War I, World War II.
Well, yeah. So on my dad's side, both of his parents were Latvian World War II refugees, which is why I am so Eastern European. It's because my grandparents are like deeply Eastern European, Latvian people who fled Latvia during World War II, and my grandmother lived in Berlin for a little while in up until 1945. Yeah, because the Russians.
There was a lot going on there too.
There's a lot going. Russians made it so bad in Latvia that it made sense to move to Germany in the 40s. So that my grandma has hated the Russians since way before it was as cool as it is these days because of the war in Ukraine. She's mad as hell about the war in Ukraine, of course.
Oh yeah.
But she and my grandfather met here, and my father was born in Chicago, so I'm second generation, I'm a second generation American under him, and then my mom was a Canadian. She was born in Canada. I have older siblings that were born in Canada because my dad moved to Canada with her. So I'm first generation on my mom's side, and in the nick of time, I could have been a Canadian. I could have been born in Canada. I was born on the way to Manhattan from Nova Scotia.
Wow.
My family lived upstate New York for a year before my dad got the job in the World Trade Center that I was moved to Manhattan. And I happened to be born there in Albany, but I don't remember it because I was just a baby when we moved to Manhattan. So yeah, I'm a first generation child of immigrant and a victim of terrorism. So I don't usually say that unless the topics come up though, because it's
right.
I do get to wear the obvious privilege, even though those things are true of me.
Yeah, we're humans. We have very complex histories, and it sounds like a very active life. That's true of anyone, depending on the angle that you look at it from. My sister has so much. Her special interest is Lithuania, so I know way too much about Eastern European history as well from her. So I understand that was really rough going on there, and what's going on now is really difficult to watch. So absolutely.
Yeah. I'm gonna. You can stay up if you want. I'm gonna bring Ungerrymander America up because he wants to talk about some stuff, and we'll see if we can get to some other people.
Go for it.
Cool. I'll have Ungerrymander America up, and I am going to stop at 12 sharp today because I've got some chores I need to do, and I've got a buddy coming over to practice some music today, so I've got plans, and I want to be able to get the podcast up. Ungerrymander America. Remind me your first name.
My name is Zane. Can you hear me? Okay.
Zane, is that right?
Yeah.
I hear that? Yeah. And how old are you again?
I'm 33.
Welcome
Seattle.
to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I mean, I love your stuff, man. I've been in and out of the show today, and I heard some people talking about RCV or making bad arguments. Not you, but
people making bad arguments on my show. What? I could never allow that.
Yeah. I guess to have a substantive question for you,
okay,
what kind of constitutional reforms would you be in favor of, if any? Just as an open question, or if you don't want to answer that.
No. That's a good question. I think because it did come up earlier in the show today. I think you might have missed it. I mentioned that I even before Trump, when I learned my civics, I raised my hand in class in high school and was like, "Excuse me, the president gets to pick the Supreme Court justices? That seems like a little bit of an issue." That maybe made sense 250 years ago when the country was smaller and it wasn't as complicated. But yeah, that's one of my big ones. Is I think that one of the ways in which a singular president can be capable of eroding the separation of powers is by selecting the Supreme Court justices. Whereas if we had Congress do it through some mechanism, that would be that concern of there being bias in the selection of the justices would be distributed across hopefully a balanced Congress, as opposed to one president who's necessarily going to be one party or the other. So we just have this flip flop of the Democrats got some justices and then the Republicans got some justices, and it's just not a good system. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's my big hole in the Constitution.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think actually term limits would be, for the justices, would kind of address that more, and especially if we had regular appointments, because the thing that gets me about it is it's just random how the appointments work. I dug into the data. If you go back to the Carter administration, there have been, Carter through Biden, the same number of Democratic and Republican presidential terms, but the Republicans appointed 11 justices to the Democrats 6.
Yeah, and it basically comes up to largely chance over the course of American history who's going to win that like arm wrestling match of getting biased control of the Supreme Court. And I just think that term limits would help, age limits would help.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I think a Supreme Court justice's term should be long, like potentially 20 years or something if they start young enough. I also think that might be a narrow window because any person who's qualified to be a Supreme Court justice is probably going to be pretty old. I don't think there are any 30-year-olds who are qualified to be a Supreme Court justice. But yeah, so between term limits and age limits, just like keeping it fucking reasonable, keeping a judge in their prime to be a Supreme Court justice, from somewhere from like 45 to 65, 70, somewhere in there. That would be good. Not until death, not until you're on death's door, not until you're 90 something years old and barely hanging on. And then, yeah, just the fact that the selection is up to the president. Congress has to approve them. But again, we just have an issue where if the stars align on Congress supporting the actions of the president in the ways that it has, we end up in a little bit of trouble.
I've got a spicy one for you.
Okay.
What do you think about abolishing the Senate and going to a unicameral legislative branch?
Yeah, I was. I did do some poking around on your book, and I watched some of your videos and stuff. I'd have to think very, very hard about that for two reasons. One, we can just ignore the pragmatic stuff for a second and say, like,
sure.
flip of a switch, the new government that Ungerrymander America wants gets enacted tomorrow. I can just look at that and judge it, and I do think that potentially merging the responsibilities in the House of the House and the Senate in a way that allows each representative to more fairly, more fairly represent the people. That's like better, but I'm just like not comprehensively educated enough on the outcomes of that, which is why I'm probably going to read your book, because I think it explains them. So I see the potential value in merging the House and the Senate, or abolishing the Senate and just having the House, however you want to look at it, because at the end of the day we are talking about rebuilding the system. But that's if we don't consider the fact that we are talking about completely turning the American government up on its head, which I think is unpragmatic. I don't really know what the path to doing that would be. And it goes against what I value as a constitutionalist, which is that we adjust the system slowly so that there isn't catastrophic change, because catastrophic change is probably bad for everybody, regardless of what the change is, just because there's going to be so many unforeseen new difficulties, so many power grabs, so many localities where, like, oh no, we have Ungerrymander America's new 4-representative system. This particular state picked some horrible ones, and now women in that state, this or that, or whatever, I would worry about that. So those are my two concerns.
Totally.
With it.
No, that's very reasonable. Yeah, no, and thanks for checking out my stuff.
Yeah, no worries.
It's
more reasonable than what the libertarians bring me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and the thing about rebuilding the system and like rapid change, I feel like we're in that thing now. I mean, it's degrading, right? And so I think about like the Civil War Reconstruction amendments. Those were huge. That's the biggest change our Constitution has ever gone through, in my opinion. Is the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. Obviously, there was a ton of violence around there. It's the whole Civil War, but
makes sense.
Yeah, I put that in the book because I do believe it, but also I feel like you gotta stir the pot a little bit and actually, if a compromise is the Senate has reduced function in some ways where it can't just block every good thing that we want to have happen, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it. I want to read your book. You should send me a copy.
I will. Yeah, man, I'll mail it to you.
Yeah, talk to me offline. We'll online, but off the show, off air.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll get it sorted out. I think I'm going to kick you because I feel like doing a song. I think I'm going to do a song and then sign off because we're down to 100 viewers. Have a good one on Ungerrymander America. That's Zane. He's got some interesting ideas. Oh, sorry, Ezra. I think Ezra was about to say that I was free to kick them. But I'll do a song quick because I did actually want to do. Sang this on the street the other day for a kid. I got to have some songs that kids like as a busker. And it's just us friends now, right? It's here. Let's get my monitoring turned up and a little more gain. I like doing popular songs in the style of Johnny Cash, because, I don't know, it's the gag. So you just play it in G and just do this kind of rhythm. Half the songs I know how to play are just this nonsense. Fall is here, hear the yell, go back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, go through the park, by the tree. We will rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found. Safely walk to school without a sound. Safely walk to school without a sound. Here we are, no one else. We walk to school all by ourselves. There's dirt on our uniforms from chasing all the ants and worms. We clean up and now it's time to learn. We clean up and now it's time to learn. Numbers, letters, learn to spell, nouns and books and show and tell. Playtime, we throw the ball back to class and through the hall. Teacher marks our height against the wall. Teacher marks our height against the wall. And we don't notice any time pass. We don't notice anything. We sit side by side in every class. Teacher thinks that I sound funny, but she likes the way you sing. And tonight I'll dream while I'm in bed, when silly thoughts go through my head about the bugs and alphabet. And when I wake tomorrow, I'll bet that you and I will walk together again. Yes, I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I haven't done that one in a long time. Forgot that was in my binder. I found it the other day. Is there someone at my door? Maybe that's a good time to end the show. Noodle, come here. Chill out. Relax. All right. Appreciate everybody hanging out to the very end. I'll read the kind messages after I end the show. See you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time here on TikTok Live.